Hello and welcome React Native developers. We're going today to explain how to do this amazing drop-down animation without using any third-party library in React Native. Let's get started. Welcome back. Here we have our project. This project have two items. Each item have a touchable opacity and the body. Now let's go to our app.js. Here we have our data. This data have an ID and title and body, and we have a view, flat list. This flat list gets the data and have a key extractor and render item for a accordion item component. We have a style sheet, and that's it for the app.js. We're going to check the accordion items. Okay, the accordion items have a title and a body. We have our touchable opacity, the icon, and besides the title we will have a style sheet. The style sheet get the container, the title, and the body. And this is the title container, which will be a raw view to have the icon in the right place. And that's it for the design. We're going now to start to create our animation. First, we are going to create our show content use state, which will be a boolean to set the content if it's visible or invisible. So let's import use state and set the value at first to false, and let's fix the design a little bit. Okay, and let's add this property to the body. So if it's show content, then the body will be visible. If it's not, the body will be hidden. Okay, let's test it. As you can see right now, the body unshown, and on the touchable opacity we want to change the show content to true. So set show content true, and let's test it, and it will stay opening, so we need to change it to exclamation mark show content, and let's test it. Okay, now it's working, and the function toggle the body. Okay, we are going right now to create our arrow animation. So let's create our animation controller. This animation controller will be a useref to a new animated value, and the animated will be imported from React Native. Animated, let's import it from React Native, and let's add an initial value to be 0, and let's get the current value. After that, we are going to create our toggle animation. This function will be replaced our on press on the touchable opacity. So let's create this function. It will be toggle list item. Let's create our constant, which will be our config. This config will explain our animation. So let's set the duration animation. We will change the value from 0 to 1. So if it's open, it will be 0, and if it's closed, it will be 1. So let's create it like this. Okay, and we are going to use our native driver to make the animation as smooth as possible. And now let's create our animated timing function. This animated timing take our animation controller and take our config, and now we are going to create our arrow transform. This property will be a style property. This arrow transform, it will be our animation controller dot interpolate. This function will take a config. This config will be our input range and output range. So our input range, it will be from 0 to 1, it's the animation controller value, and the output range will be a degrees. So the arrow transform degrees in the z-axis, so it will be from 0 degree to 90 degree. To make this animation work, we need to wrap our icon with an animated view. This animated view will wrap the material icon, and it will take style. The style will be our transform to the Z axis, so it will be a rotate. Okay, let's rotate that, and it will be our arrow transform. Okay, now let's test it. Okay, we need to change this to a comma. Okay, let's fix the current file and let's test it. As you can see, now we need to change our onPress to our toggle function, toggle list item. Now let's test it. Okay, as you can see, now it's not opening and not closing, so we need to toggle the set show content right here, exclamation mark show content, like this. Now let's test it. It's now working, but our arrow animation is not working. We need to start our animated timing function. Let's test it, and as you can see right now, it's currently working correctly. We are going to create our body animation, so we are going to create a new folder. This folder will be animations, and now let's create a new file. It will be our toggle animation.js. okay, this file will have our body content animation, so let's import our layout animation from React Native, and let's create our export constant toggle animation. This will be an object. This object will have a duration. This the animation duration in total. And now let's create our update animation, a duration. It will be an override for the previous duration, so let's keep it 300. And now let's add our type animation. It will be layout animation dot types dot ease in, ease out. And let's add our property animation. It will be layout animation dot properties dot opacity, like this. And let's now create our delete animation. Like before, we are going to copy the update animation. We will change the duration to 200, and let's fix the design. And now let's go back to our accordion item. We are going to add this layout animation in our toggle list item function. It will be before our show content change. Let's import layout animation from React Native, and let's add and configure next function, and let's give it our toggle animation. Okay, and now let's test it. As you can see, it's working, but we now see some bad animations, so let's add an overflow hidden to our container to fix this overflow. Okay, like this, and let's test it, and now it's working correctly. Thank you everyone for watching. You can support me on Patreon, and you can subscribe and like this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.